Hey everybody, welcome to another repair video. Today we're going to be looking at this MacBook which I've got in front of me. And this MacBook is an A1707 and it's not turning on. Apparently the customer said that it's completely dead. So we're going to take a look, we're going to see what we can do, and hopefully we're going to get this thing fixed. I'm probably going to be using some of Lewis Rossman's wiki, which you can find at repair.wiki. And that is basically going to give me a breakdown of all of the things what could possibly be wrong with this MacBook. Lewis Rossman is well renowned for his MacBook repairs. I'll leave a link to his channel in the video description. He's an absolutely fantastic guy. Huge respect for the guy, and I really love his work. So yeah, I really recommend checking him out in the video description. While you're there, if you look just below the video, there's a subscribe button. So if you haven't pressed it already, if that button is still red, then you're doing something wrong. You should probably press it and see what happens. Magic smoke comes out, I promise. So subscribe and get the magic smoke. So with that being said, let's get into this video. Before we get started, I just want to give thanks to PCBWay.com. PCBWay is the all-in-one solution for custom printed circuit boards, flexible printed circuit boards, advanced printed circuit boards, and even CNC and 3D printing. To get started, simply head over to PCBWay.com, click on Instant Quote, and submit your PCB details. Click on Save to Cart, and then we can upload a Gerber file. Click Submit Order now, and your next project is then sent for review. PCBWay also offer a shared project page where you can share your projects or find something to create. Simply head over to the link in the video description to learn more or to start your next project. Now back to the video. Okay, so this is a A1707 and apparently it's completely dead. So the first thing we're going to do is just try and figure out what's going on with the charger. So I've got myself a little USB ammeter here with the USB-C cable. These newer MacBooks use USB-C. Surprised I don't use a lightning jack, to be honest. So let's just see what kind of power it's taking. Okay, we get 5 volts. A little bit of reflection off my studio lights there. 5 volts at 0 amps. That's interesting. So what should happen here is when the charger is plugged in, the MacBook should go from 5 volts and then it should ask the charger to provide 20 volts. This is a USB-C power delivery charger. It's capable of powering a MacBook. It's capable of 20 volts. So it should ask the charger for 20 volts, and basically what should happen then is the charger should say, oh, okay, I'll provide 20 volts, and then the MacBook turns on. If it's only providing 5 volts and it's not requesting 20 volts from the charger, then there's something wrong with the charging circuit somewhere, or rather the main power circuit somewhere. I'm probably going to say, based on what I've watched of Lewis Rossman's, I'm probably going to say it's going to be a short to ground on PP bus G3 hot, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't opened this machine yet, so I don't actually know. But basically, we've got 5 volts at 0 amps, and if we just lift up the lid, it's not going to turn on at 5 volts. 5 volts is not going to be enough to charge a laptop. And press the power button. This is a touch bar model, I think. Is that a touch bar? I don't know. I'm not a MacBook guy. But yeah, we press the power button and nothing at all happens. So this has got a power issue on the board somewhere. So let's open it up and we'll see what's going on. I'm probably going to be fast forwarding through most of this. I don't know how to get into these things. So yeah, we'll probably fast forward through a lot of it. Alright, so I've got my trusty iFixit kit, which has got all of my own laptop screws in it because my own laptop's fan died last week and I haven't put the screws back in. It's my own device, I don't have to put the screws back in. It's probably going to need some more maintenance soon anyway when I change the thermal paste, so there we go. I'm actually going to do a Lewis Rossman here and put the screws on a magnet. So while I'm taking this apart, if you enjoy my videos and you get any kind of use from them at all, then I'm going to show my ways of supporting me. So you can support me if you think I'm worthy. You're probably out of your mind if you think I am, but you can support me anyway. So there's a link to Twitch in the video description, and if you head over to Twitch you can link your Amazon Prime account if you're a Prime subscriber, and you can become a Twitch Prime subscriber on my channel. Gives me around about $2.50 a month. It helps me out. It doesn't cost you anything if you've got Twitch Prime, but it does help me out. Okay, for some reason this isn't coming apart. Right, so just like Apple says, I'm using this wrong. So apparently the way you take this off is by lifting the front up first and then sliding it forward. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Right, okay. So here we are then. I've got the board out, finally. I did use a guide online to help me through it because obviously I don't generally work on these. So I don't actually know how to do them. So we've got a lot of screws there, which I'm probably going to have to go back on the video to figure out. Now, one thing I'm noticing straight away, or rather one thing I noticed on the board as I was taking it apart, was we do have some signs of a spill. So just here on this coil here, we've got some signs of what looks to be tea or something like that. So that's the first interesting thing about this. And then if we take a look on the other side, we have some green goop just here on this connector. So I'm going to have to take this off just to have a look underneath there. And then I'll get it under the microscope and we'll inspect it a little further. Okay. Let's pop it under the scope and we're going to take a look around this board. Okay, so immediately I'm seeing some damage around here. So we've got some corrosion, got some damaged capacitors by the look of it. So that's one area to note straight away. So I'm going to give it a quick scan, just see if I can find anything else. So I'll just hunt around. Ooh, we've got some issues here. I'm not sure what that is. I'll check it on the board view in a minute by the wonderful Paul Daniels. I'll check that out shortly. Okay, I'm going to scan the other side of the board. Okay, the other side of the board looks okay. We've got some, like I said, what looks to be some sort of T or something there on that inductor. This is around by the CPU and GPU MOSFETs, but I don't think I should be concerned about it because there's no real damage. What's the deal here? What is it with those MOSFETs? I've never seen MOSFETs like that. Interesting. Alright. Okay, so yeah, I'm only seeing a little bit of liquid damage on the back. I'm going to take a look on the board view and see if I can figure it out. I just need to find the board number. Okay, so here's the board number. Finally found it. Apple don't half like to make life hard. It's the 820-00928. So I'm going to download a board view and schematic for this board, and I'll see what the deal is with those corroded components. Alright, so I've got the schematic and I've got the board view as well. So I'm just going to line these up. There we go. So here's the schematic. And unfortunately I can't tell you where to get these from because I don't want to be sued. But they're fairly easy. You can find them all over the internet if you've got any kind of Google foo. So the corrosion that I'm looking for is around here. And it's these three components just here. So we've got C8500, CC787 and CC788. And they are PPV out SO LCD backlight. So they're going to be backlight. They're going to be to power the backlight, I would assume. And it's all connected to the same line. It's connected to J8500 on pin 43. Ooh. Right, let's have a look at this. Okay, so one of the issues with pin number 43 on the backlight is that right next to it, pin number 1 is a data line for the CPU. So we need to make sure that this hasn't got a dead CPU. So this connector here, it doesn't look as though anything should have jumped across. So one of the problems that Louis Rossman talks about quite often in his videos is that the 2016, 2017 MacBooks and the MacBook Pros have a major design flaw where pin number 1 is located right next to pin number 43. Now, Dave from EEV blog actually went over this on, you know, what the potential issues could be with this and why it actually happened like this. And basically, to put it into a nutshell, pin number 43 is a high voltage backlight line, and on paper, it seems as though, you know, pin 43 would be incredibly far away from pin number 1. But when it comes to actually designing it, that wasn't the case. And if we take a look at the board view, you'll see here we've got pin 43, which is PP out SO LCD backlight, which is a 52 volt power line. And then we've got EDP AUX CHCN. And if you zoom out, you'll see that goes to here, C7380. And if you look here, we've got PP bus high side CPU. Now, PP bus high side CPU is the CPU MOSFET. That's the problem. It powers the CPU. So if you've got 52 volts which goes to the CPU, well, that unfortunately is going to be a very bad day for everyone. Unfortunately. Now, let's just take a look here, because here there's some corrosion as well. We've got C7251, and unfortunately C7251 is PP bus high side CPU. Now, here's where it's going to be a problem. If the water has shorted out PPV out and C7251 at the same time, can you see where I'm going with this? Then that's going to cause a low impedance on the 52 volt line towards the PP bus high side CPU. This could very well have a dead CPU. We can only hope not. We can only hope not. So we've got some corrosion around here, and we've also got corrosion here as well. That's bad news. Or it could be bad news. So I think the main thing we need to do is just clean this up, and then we can check around here for some sort of shorts. Just see if we've got any shorts. Now, I will say that on this particular MacBook, it doesn't appear as though we've got any kind of direct short between here and here. So this is obviously a 52 volt line, and we don't want it to end up having a short. So I think what we need to do first is just reflow this area and basically just take it from there. So we're going to reflow this and get rid of this corrosion, and then we're going to take it from there and hope and pray that it didn't cause any further damage. So I'm going to get some flux, and that's probably a little bit short of a Lewis Rossman amount of flux. Probably about half a millipole. Probably about half a millipole, but never mind. It should be sufficient. That's a joke, by the way. It's more than enough flux. If you watch any of Lewis Rossman's stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's close, but no cigar. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflow this using hot air. So I've got my hot air set at 440. 40% airflow. I'm actually going to try and protect the connector a little bit, if I can. So I've got a big brass. Well, it's actually used for reballing. It should protect the connector enough, though. Okay, I might need a bit more heat here, so I'm going to increase to 460. Alright, so as you can see there, that did protect that connector. Those connectors can take a fair amount of heat anyway, to be honest. But as you'll see there, it's absolutely fine. It wouldn't have took that amount of heat, but that can take a little bit. I'm just going to clean off the area. Right, so in case you're wondering, I am just using isopropyl alcohol to clean this. I'm just going to brush down with a brush as well. Make sure we get it nice and clean in this area. Just try and clean up any corrosion. So Lewis Rossman's got this thing called Rapid Cool technology. I've got something called Rapid Dry. Check this out. And this is patented technology. So Rapid Dry technology is something I invented myself. I'll permit you to use it. I'll let you use it. Why not? Alright, let's get the multimeter out. Let's break out the multimeter. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on with this then, shall we? Because just cleaning up that corrosion, very doubtful that's going to have done anything. So I'm in resistance mode. I'm going to pop one probe on ground. So I've got black probe on ground. I'm going to check the input side of this cap. We've got 200,000 ohms. It is dropping, but I don't think that's going to be short. I mean, the board is still warm. You are going to get inaccurate readings when the board is warm because resistance is going to increase. Yeah, it's dropping all over the place. The board is still warm, but I don't think it's short. Well, that cap was probably bad. That's just pinged off. I didn't even touch it. It's fine. I'll find out what cap it is on the board view later on. Yeah, I don't think we're short there. How about here? I think this side is ground. Yep. Let's have a look here. We're reading like 5,000 ohms. Yeah, I don't think we're short. I don't think we've got an issue with the CPU. I'll figure out what that cap is later on. Alright. So I'm going to plug it back in and just see if we do get any change just by cleaning up the corrosion. And just in case you're wondering, when you start probing around, if you knock a capacitor off, I mean, one capacitor, especially on the backlight line, it's probably not going to make a huge difference anyway. I will try and replace it if I can, but it's not going to make a huge difference anyway. But one thing that you got to remember is if it pings off, so if it just pings off as soon as you start to probe around in that area, then you probably didn't have a very good connection anyway, because that shouldn't happen. And I'm not trying to make excuses, that is just the way it is. That's just the way it goes. So I've got one side plugged in there. That should be enough. I don't think I need them both plugged in. Let's just see if we get any change. Nope, still 5 volts, 0 amps. So we're still drawing absolutely squat. Alright, so what is this? A1707. We do have some PP3V3S4W LAN. Okay, this is, by the look of it, the wireless chip. Looks like it's the wireless IC. Okay, so we do have some PP3V3 in there though. So there is something to note. Let's just try and find PP bus G3 hot. Alright, so on this side of the board that we're on right now, we can go just down in the middle to a nice big resistor. Okay, that should be easy enough to find. Okay, looks like it's going to be 2R2 just here. Excellent. Alright, so let's just check this. So I'm in resistance mode. Let's just check the resistance to ground on PP bus G3 hot. 1.9 million ohms. Okay. Same with that side. Yeah, okay. So we're good there on PP bus G3 hot. Okay, so let's go over the schematic then. Here we go. So I'm going to look for the power rails. Some of this is still loading. It's a big file. Let's go to Lewis Rossman's repair.wiki while we're waiting for that to load. So if we look on Lewis Rossman's repair.wiki, we can go to search and go to 820-00928. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us a MacBook Pro look. Hello. We want the A1707. Where is it? There it is. 15 inch. There we go. Charger at 5 volts, 0 amps. Sure. PP bus G3 hot is most likely shorted to ground with a 0 to 1 ohm short, most likely due to a bad capacitor. When PP bus G3 hot is directly shorted to ground, it won't produce heat. The power IC is usually smart enough to just turn it off when it detects a straight 0 ohm short. So PP bus G3 hot isn't short, so we can skip that. Corroded LDO cap for PP bus G3 hot around a CD3215. Check under shielding by the SSD. No, I'm not seeing anything there. Yeah, not seeing anything. Let's have a look at one of these CD3215s. Looks fine. The CD3215 there, again, looks fine. No problems there. And there's two CD3215s there, but again, we don't see any problems there at all. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to check for PP bus G3 hot for resistance to CPU V-core. So PP bus G3 hot. I'm going to try and locate it. Alright, so we've got a cap here, which is supposed to have G3 hot on it. Resistance to ground is in the 300,000 ohm range. So I'm going to keep that there, and I'm going to check against these coils around here. We're in the millions of ohms. I don't think this is an issue. So something's not turning on. I don't think it's anything on the CPU. But the problem is the schematic for this board view isn't loading. Alright. So I'm going to try and do some measurements if I can. Okay, we've got 0.03 volts on PP bus G3 hot. Alright, let's have a look at the PP3V3 line. Alright, now interestingly, the PP3V3 line does go through the, what I believe is the Wi-Fi IC, U3730. Alright, so it comes up here. So we've got PP3V3 underscore G3 hot on a cap just there. And, what's this? Corrosion on a test point? Interesting. That's a PP3V3 underscore G3 hot test point. Right, okay, so we've got 0.1 volts on 3V3 G3 hot. Yeah, I'm missing something somewhere. Okay, so literally the only thing I'm finding here is that corrosion that was by the backlight, which I don't think is going to have done anything at all. And this bit here, so a tiny bit of corrosion here and then a little bit on the Wi-Fi IC. Is that a broken line on there? Let's just scrape this back a second and we'll have a look. It might be. Alright, time for some rapid dry. Patented technology. Alright, let's see if we've got a continuous path. No. No continuous path. Okay, let's fix that then. Well, at least we can fix something now. So this is literally the only other bit of corrosion that I'm finding. So, I mean, it's got to be this, surely. So, in case you're wondering, this is a PP3V3_G3 hotline. So, yeah. It's a very important line. And it could explain why the CD3215s are not talking to the charger. So, I'm going to scrape this back a bit more. I'll scrape it back this side. There we go. Just clean that up. A little bit of rapid dry technology. .25 millipoles of flux. There we go. Beautiful. Excellent. Fantastic. Alright. And I'm going to tin this area here just to prep it for a new, well, for a jumper wire rather. So I'm probably going to break this test point, but I'm going to be bypassing it. Alright, there's that. Good to go. Let's get some jumper wire. 0.17 millimeters. So, this jumper wire in particular you can't buy. This is the code of production. No, genuinely, it really is. That's not even a joke. I take this stuff from microwaves and it works really well. This is actually the fan inside a microwave, which I get this from. It does work really, really well, I'll be honest. It's really good for, you know, power lines and stuff like that. I use 0.1 millimeter a lot of the time as well for, you know, data lines and etc, etc. But when it comes to a power line, I tend to use this. Alright. Well, that didn't really go according to plan. Mr. Solder Blobby. Blobby. Who remembers Mr. Blobby? Mr. Solder Blobby. Blobby. There we go, just break that jumper wire away. And just a little patch wire there. Let's just make sure that's not shorted to ground. Interesting. Just get rid of that jumper wire for a second. Alright, there we go. Hope that wire didn't go to somewhere. Not the wire, the test point. He's probably fine. He's probably fine. But that's interesting. As soon as I run that jumper wire, we had a short to ground. That would probably explain why that trace has burnt away in the first place. Wouldn't it? Alright. So, let's test for a short to ground on that side. No. That side. Okay, then no. So it looks like it was just bridged. Alright, that's fine. Well, I can fix that. So we're not bridged anymore. So 0.25 millipoles of flux. That's about 0.5, but it's fine. Just going to tin the wire again. Okay, let's just keep this neat. Okay, just going to strengthen this jumper. We don't want to end up with it breaking away over time. There we go. Right. Just break that away. Good. That's rapid dry for you. Alright, we should no longer be shorted to ground there. Let's have a look, we're in continuity mode. Black probe on ground. Excellent, no short to ground. And we now have a completed path across that line. Let's see if that makes a difference. Does it make a difference? So that's the jumper wire I've got, by the way. Loads of the stuff. 0.17mm according to the measuring thingies, whatever the hell they're called. I can never remember the name of things. Alright, let's see if we get any difference now. So we'll be getting 5 volts at 0 amps. Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. So, moment of truth. $20 volts. 20 volts. That's booting, 1.8 amps. She be booting, boys. CPU gets warm. GPU warm. She be booting, boys. Let's get her back together. Alright, actually, before I do that, I do need to just cover this area in conformal coating. Just protect that jumper wire. So, we've got some UVH900, which is a PCB solder mask from Mechanic. Really cheap stuff, one tube should last you a lifetime. You only need a little bit. There we go. And the UV light incoming. Okay, that should be nice and solid, and that area should now be fully protected. So that just covers it up and basically cakes it in a coating. There we go. Alright, we should be good to go here now. So what I do need to do, because I've took that heatsink off, I need to replace this thermal paste. So all I'm going to do is just clean up this old stuff. There's way too much thermal paste, Apple. You don't need that much, you only need it on the die. Don't make me come down there and slap you. Alright. There we go. Alright, let's use some of the good thermal paste, shall we? MX4. There we go, perfect. I'll fast forward through all of this bit, get it back together, and pick it up when I'm done. Right, ladies and gents, it is the moment of truth. I've got it back together, enough for testing. I haven't put any screws in, haven't put any clips in, all of that good stuff. We're going to leave it unscrewed, and hopefully this is going to turn on. So, I'm going to be careful here that I don't dox anyone. No, I won't dox anyone, it'll be fine. Let's plug it in. 5 volts, 20 volts. Screen's a bit dirty. Fan spin. Yes, baby, let's go. Do we get an Apple logo? 2 amps of current. It's charging a battery. I don't know if it's powering on though. Wait, did I connect the LCD? Nope. 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 Oh dear. Alright. I didn't connect this ribbon. Let's disconnect the battery. Okay, now let's reconnect the battery. Oh, I'm such a buffoon. Oh dear. Well, I don't work on Macbooks, so I'm sure I can be forgiven to a certain extent. Alright, let's see if we get anything now. Okay, we're getting something on battery power now. Yes! Let's go! We have backlight, we have display, and this MacBook appears to be working. Okay, ladies and gents, here we go. It's booted. Now, I don't know whether or not this is a normal fan speed or whether it's a high fan speed or what. I don't actually know. I don't have a clue. I need to make sure that it's not got a high fan speed, because otherwise we would have some sort of a sensor issue. But basically, this right now is working. I'm going to restart it. Let's just see how quick it boots up. Let's just make sure it doesn't have a sensor issue. I'm going to keep my hand there just to make sure it stays covered. I have just asked it to log in as a guest, but you never know with these blue things. Actually, saying that, I want to see how quick it boots up normally, not as a guest user, because I don't know how quick it's meant to boot up as a guest user. Okay, let's just wait for this Apple logo. There we go. Oh wow, that's quick. Hell yeah. That's real quick. Cool. Job done. Happy days. Whoa, happy days. There we go. I'm super happy with this result. I do need to give it a full test, so I'm going to charge it to 100%, drain the battery, make sure it holds a charge, all of that sort of good stuff, and also make sure that we don't have any other issues with sensors, internet connectivity, that sort of thing. I did notice it did pick up my Wi-Fi, so I think that little burn mark on the Wi-Fi IC is nothing to worry about. It's probably just a little bit of corrosion. But by running a jumper wire on the 3v3 G3 hotline, managed to restore this and it works perfectly. So what's likely happened here is the 3v3 G3 hotline has become shorted to ground by touching the chassis of the case, I would assume, on that test point. It's corroded it, but before it's corroded it, it's blown that trace, and basically it's blown a hole in the trace, stopped it from turning on, and now here we are running the little jumper wire, manages to get it to work. little bit of corrosion around the 52 volt backlight line. It did concern me a little bit, but you know, we got it working, and I'm super happy. So let me know what you think down in the comments down below. I'll always do my best to read and reply to comments. If you do want to organise your own repair, as you can see, I don't just work on consoles, I do other stuff too. So if you want to organise a repair, head over to the website in the video description, consolefix.store, and you can book in your repair and send it over to me so as I can try and fix it for you. If you want to support what I do, if you enjoy this content and you think I'm worthy, then you can head over to Twitch. You can become a Twitch Prime subscriber, and that's free for you if you've got Twitch Prime, but it does help me out a bunch. You can also become a Patreon supporter using the link in the video description, or you can become a channel member using the join button just below the video. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications, that way you don't miss any future videos. And other than that, you can donate directly by heading over to the PayPal address in the video description, or the Square checkout address in the video description if you want to support me that way. But that's going to be for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I really enjoyed this repair. Super glad that I could get it working. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.